So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Private Victories podcast. Today, we are going over the November Roundup. So, as always, there are a couple points that I want to touch on. And as always, I've left this too short. So, in 40 minutes, I actually have a pretty late sales call here in the UK. It's going to be 8 p.m. my time, which is not ideal, but sometimes, clients internationally, there just isn't any availability in the calendar. And, you gotta slot them in and make it work. So I think this has happened a couple times where I've been doing roundups or videos and I have a call right after. So excuse me, but what is it? I forget how the saying goes. It's like restriction breeds resourcefulness or something like that, or constraints. That's what I was looking for. Constraints breed resourcefulness. So yeah, let's be resourceful in this December roundup. So there's a couple things that I want to touch on. First things first, from a business perspective, November was a great month, especially for the agency. I think it was the second. Tristan, you can fact check this and maybe pop this on the screen, but I believe it was 2nd November was a Monday, because I remember that was the first working day. We signed 2 new clients. So that was awesome. Basically at GrowYourAgency.com as well as IAG Media, we set a mission for the month. Some months it may be a result we're trying to get. Some months it may be something we're trying to improve. So I can tell you, might as well just tell you now, the mission for IAG Media in November was sign 2 clients, and that's kind of like just a hygiene standard for us. And then outside of that, we really want to dial in communication last month. So making sure there was not one Monday where we missed our Monday looms, just going over any activity over the weekend, or our Thursday, 2-3 sentence updates we do for our clients. So the way it works at the agency is clients in their first month, we do weekly check-in calls. And then after that first month, after the first month nerves, jitters, obviously there's also just a lot of logistical stuff to do usually in the first month, especially because 80% of our clients are info-prog businesses, meaning that inevitably there's something that we have to tweak on the funnel side of things. So that first month we do weekly check-in calls, and then after that it moves to bi-weekly check-in calls. So we do that, and then as I said, on Monday we do the loom, just going over what's kind of just some movements that happened on the weekend, and then Thursday 2 or 3 line update, and then outside of that they have 24/7 real-time reporting using our reporting system. So yeah, that's basically how we do things. So all of that to basically say that we're 80 or 90% of the way there, or we're 80-90% solid when it comes to our ritual of Monday looms and Thursday, couple line updates. And I just want to clean that up because, at the agency, we hold ourselves to a certain standard, and I don't care if it's 80 or 90% of the way there. It needs to be a 10 out of 10. It needs to be, 100%. Because as you guys know, we charge premium fees. I mean, this year we've gone more flexible in terms of pricing, in terms of, making majority of our money from performance fees, that sort of stuff, just to try to accommodate from, a broader range of client that, not every single client can slap down a 5-figure a month retainer, but there are clients that could be worth over 5 figures a month in billables if they have the potential and you have the right sort of performance, performance fee in place. So yeah, all of this to say that our mission for IAG Media was sign 2 new clients, which we did on literally, I believe, and as I said, Tristan can fact check this, but I believe it was the first working day of the month. That was awesome. One was a dating app, and this is kind of the whole reason that I want to speak about this. One was a dating app that actually matches people based on their music interests. So it hooks up, the API hooks up to your Spotify, and then from there, as I said, it matches people based on their musical preferences. And then, obviously now it's a bit hard with everything that's going on, but then they work with, different event spaces, ticket companies, et cetera, provide discounts, and, try to match these lovebirds up together. So that was one client, and another client was a really interesting eclectic education company. Anyways, really good start to the month. In general, business was really good in November. We had the launch of season 3, which went incredibly well. As always, I had 3 or 4 messages a day asking when the blue light blockers are finally launching, and we are going to be doing a pre-order on the 15th of December. I told the team, I've been fighting with the team about this, but I was like, look, let's just at least get a pre-order on the 15th of December. So that way the people who are dying to get it, which is in the hundreds at the moment, if not thousands, at least they know that they've secured their spot. Like their glasses will be arriving within the next 3 to 4 weeks. So if you order within 4 weeks time, your glasses should arrive. It should be sooner than that, but I want to quote you 4 weeks. So if you order on December 15th, you are guaranteed to be one of the first few people to get their glasses. I've never seen, of everything that we do, I've never seen a demand like this before. It's nuts. And, I just want to say thank you to all the people who have, and we've gotten many messages about this, all the people who have been like, hey, I put off my Black Friday shopping. I was going to get some blue light blockers for Black Friday, literally just for this. So, it means a lot. So basically, November started off in a really good place, and it carried on that way through. So going back to my point about this dating app. With this dating app, we've actually started playing around with a couple different platforms, which we dabbled in before, especially for GrowYourAgency.com, but we'd never actually put spend behind. So with this dating app, it's not the regular sort of client that we would bring on. And, it's interesting, without giving away too many details, I told them the term of it is actually rolling month by month. And if you guys have been, following more closely this year, you know that this year, my biggest, the thing that I'm focused on the most with the agency is longevity and, really long retainers. So every single client I've signed this year has been a 5 or 6 month minimum. With them, I literally told this client, like, I'm more scared to sign you than you are to sign me, because, it's one of those business where it's VC funding, big trough in cash flow before you recoup any of that money. And I get scared to work with those sorts of businesses. And props to anyone who builds a business like that, where they have to take on big VC funding, they have to take on investor funding. It's a lot of pressure, and a lot of my early clients were in that space. A lot of my early clients, that pretty much was my niche. I basically had no niche except for the fact that it was people who went through their Series A, Series B round of funding, had really big budgets. But yeah, obviously it's always that scary thing of like, you're just burning through so much money. So with this client, we're exploring more eclectic ways of advertising, and it's been really interesting to kind of look through and play around with the Snapchat advertising platform, the TikTok advertising platform, and start looking at a lot of these other platforms. And especially at this time currently, I'm sure, as many people know, Facebook is just being a little toddler right now. And Facebook, honestly, I've had issues with Facebook ever since the Cambridge Analytica thing back in, it would have been April of 2018, kind of when everything, when really the pot was stirred. And, since then there's been, since then, at the end of the day, if you had to give me one platform to advertise on, and, regardless for any sort of client, I'd still take Facebook. So that's kind of the brass tacks of it. Like, that's my final note about it. So I can say what I want about Facebook. It's still, in my opinion, or not in my opinion, I'd say my opinion and statistically the best platform to advertise on for the widest range of. I forgot that automatically in my house. Okay, so I apologize for anyone who's listening on the podcast. You won't know what I'm talking about, but all the lights just turned red. So I have a automation in my house where all my lights turn red at 7:30. Helps me unwind for sleep and stuff like that. So let me just go ahead and change that back. So sorry about that, guys. So as I was saying, since then there's been things, and it's always been manageable. I mean, even since mid 2018, for a long time, I'd say a year, maybe even 18 months, lookalikes just sucked. They did nothing, and that's just because Facebook wasn't able to buy the sort of data that it used to buy. And obviously, lookalikes kind of ties into, lookalikes is kind of the epitome of the big issue around the whole Cambridge Analytica scandal, and sort of building these different archetypes and then using that to twist and turn and manipulate a desired outcome. Now lookalikes are back. We found that in the last 9 or 12 months. They've actually been performing really well for our clients again. So, that's one thing to note. But there's always been things with Facebook where it sucks, but you just kind of suck it up, because at the end of the day, it's still the best platform on earth to advertise on. And I think now it's actually getting to that precipice where in 12 months, I don't know. And you guys always ask me, you're like, oh, what if this changes with Facebook, or this changes with this platform, or what if there's a new platform to advertise on? Ladies and gentlemen, like, we are not, you should not be married to any sort of advertising platform. You should not be married to any way of delivering services for your clients. Your sole fiduciary responsibility to your clients is to find what platform or what service for your niche specifically is going to deliver the best results, and just do that. All right. So I'm really not romantic or married to a platform or a way of delivering services. Look, if it so happens in 5 months, SMS marketing is the best way to get results for our industry and our clients, I'm going to have an SMS marketing agency, right? You really need to be flexible. And it's funny, I was actually speaking to one of our students in our higher level program, copy paste agency, the other day. And, he was asking me, like, how do I, as Warren Buffett always says, like, how do I build a moat around my business? And he was trying to think of these sort of things that he could implant that could really help build a moat. And basically what he was talking about was like, putting more money into like R&D costs, and like, spending money and time on things that were sizable. And what I said to him was, dude, your biggest moat will be the fact that you are, you do things the way that I've always taught it, which is you are lean, right? And when you're lean, when you're remote, like, it's funny, the world's catching on now to things that I've been speaking about and the things that we've been doing in sort of our boutique agency industry for years. Like Zoom, we've been doing that for years. Remote meetings, we've been doing that for years. E-contracts, we've been doing that for years. Like, even I feel as though even just things like are moving away from like even bank transfer. Like, a lot of businesses are now realizing just how archaic bank wires are. We've been doing that for years. We've been using Stripe and different payment processors. So like, the world is kind of catching on to the way that we've been doing things. As I said, if you follow my ideology and the way that I've been, teaching the industry for years and years, which is be a lean, mean, results-driven boutique agency. So all of this to basically say that your biggest advantage as an agency owner is to not be married to any specific service, to not be married to any specific platform. As I said, if you're advertising, if you are, for example, if you are an email marketing agency, and there's many successful ones out there, not being married to one specific email provider or email, I don't even know what to call it, like email software, not being married to Infusionsoft specifically or ActiveCampaign specifically, because things happen, these different platforms or softwares, one year, this software has the best deliverability, and then something happens, it tanks, and then the next year a different one is a lot better, and you got to be able to adjust. Last year we had pretty much everything on in Infusionsoft. We moved everything over this year to a combination of Drip, which I love that software, that email software, and ActiveCampaign, depending on the clients that we're working with, and then internally depending for our specific needs. We have a different one for the agency email list. Obviously, we're spending a lot of money on ads for the agency, and a different one for GrowYourAgency, which we're also spending a lot of money for. So basically, my point is that is, that's your moat, that's your big competitive advantage, is being agile and being lean and being able to move with the times. So all of this basically to say that I foresee in the next 12 months, because the thing is, Facebook keeps fucking around its customers. And one of the things that you don't do is piss off your customers. And, I really don't understand how people don't get this concept, because you can see it in America right now. And, I know, I know Kieran right now, my product manager, is once again shaking his head going, Iman, for the love of God, please just stop. Like you, this is the 347th time you've nearly been canceled. Please don't make another one. Then again, I feel as though this is a little bit more of a chill topic, but like, you can even see it in America. Like, the wealth is leaving California, the wealth is leaving New York. And to me, it's just like, what do you expect is going to happen when you treat the people who pay the tax? And this gets into a bigger discussion of like, the rich don't pay tax. And well, that's just not true. Like just statistically, that's not true. You know, the top 1% pay 50% of the entire tax revenue for the country. So it's like, well, not really. The top 1% are pulling 50% of the weight of the country, right? And, you know, I'm kind of looking at everything that's happening in America, and it literally reminds me of the book Atlas Shrugged. And it's like, I don't blame all these people. Like, you know, I think you should go where you're treated best. And I don't know why, but everything that's happening with like Facebook as an advertiser, I feel as though that's kind of the same thing. Like I see such a mirror image to what's going on in America, which is like, if I was in America, I would not be living in California or New York anymore. Not even just the taxes, just the way they treat business owners, like the way they've shut down all the states. And once again, I know this is a very touchy subject, but it's just like, I would feel disgusted to be a resident of California or New York right now. I would leave in an instant. Yeah. You know, they're just, they're basically just trying to destroy everything that anyone, and I'm not even talking about, you know, these multi-billion-dollar companies. I'm literally talking about like the mom and pop shops that took out a $20,000 loan from the bank to try to start their business. And, you know, they put their life and, you know, their entire livelihood into this thing. And it's just like, it's all gone and it's evaporated. And it's heartbreaking to see. So, yeah, I don't know why I see such a parallel between the way that Facebook is treating its customers and like the way that like the US or certain states are treating their business owners. And in the same way that's happening in America, which is you piss off the people that, and once again, like I don't really care to entertain any stigma. I have been poor, and, you know, many people know that I've mentioned this before, and you know, I hope my mom's not listening, because every time I mention it, she like gets so angry at me because I know she's so embarrassed about it. But I'm just the fingers crossed, because it's just fingers crossed she's not listening to this, just because like it's very poignant. But like, we have been on government benefits before, which basically is like in America, like welfare. So like, I know what it's like to directly benefit from taxpayer money. You know, my mom was working in the NHS, which is basically the free public healthcare, minimum wage for, you know, a long time. So, you know, I know what it's like to be on both sides. And if you look at kind of my childhood, you know, for those of you guys who don't know much about it, and I've only ever disclosed a very little portion of it, but like, I really should be someone who's like, oh, fuck the rich, blah, blah, they don't pay taxes, blah, blah. But it's just like, I know how, like, you know, there's wealthy people are really villainized, and it's a shame to see, because honestly, most wealthy people I've met have gone to that point by providing so much value, by always putting other people first. And at the end of the day, being a business owner means that every other person's safety is guaranteed except for your own, and you only take what's left at the end of the pot after everyone else has eaten, right? And I feel as though people need to separate like big greedy corporations, because, you know, most of them are f***ing scum, to small, medium, even large size business owners, because they're totally different things. And yeah, long story short, it's very interesting to see what's going on with Facebook. I think they're really pissing off a lot of their customers. And I see Facebook as an advertising platform, less and less money going into there, just because, you know, it's ridiculous the amount of shutdowns that are happening in like November. And that, you know, especially for me, like I'm so sensitive to it, because at the end of the day, I'm in one of the hardest industries to navigate in. Info products and the education industry is very, very hard to advertise for in terms of compliance. And we've done so much work over the past few years just to make sure that every part of the process is compliant. We've done so much work with our clients to just even verify business managers, just make like, even just go into their settings, just make sure everything aligns, you know, always making sure that, and if you guys have any clients that are like this, don't ever let your client pay via PayPal. That'll lead to big issues in terms of ad account shutdown. Like, there's certain things that just Facebook doesn't like, and you learn after you spend a lot of money. Even just like, if you one time your clients or your Amex like declines, that'll cause cascading effects. And once again, it just puts you on Facebook's radar, which you just don't want as an advertiser. So with all of our clients, they have bank wire. There's some clients that are adamant because they want the Amex points, and we will accept it if they can prove to us that when we advertise, you're not going to have, there's not going to be any failed payments or declines from your Amex, because as I said, that just makes it really hard on our side, because that's you just don't want to be on Facebook's radar. You want everything to be as clean as humanly possible. And as I said, especially in our industry, the info product industry is a very hard industry to advertise for, because to be honest, as you guys, well, I don't need to tell you guys, there's a lot of bad characters in there. We do a lot of vetting with the clients we work with, and make sure that they are the best in their industry, and we just try to make sure that everything is professional as possible, and even just not only on the ad side of things, even in terms of landing page and SSL certification, and just there's a lot of work that we need to do. But still, Facebook, just kind of swings down its iron fist whenever it wants to. So that is, this is stuff we've always dealt with over the last few years, but I've definitely felt the intensity heat up a lot in the past few months in terms of Facebook. Now, granted, a lot of that I know has to do with the elections. Anytime with elections are going on, anything they deem anything they deem even close to being something that could cause controversy, they just shut down because it's already such a tense time. And elections are over now. Well, technically, I guess technically they're not, but we'll see. But I guess campaigning is over, so we'll kind of see what happens. But if Facebook keeps going at the rate that it keeps going at, I could see it not being the biggest advertiser anymore. This year, we've advertised for our clients on Facebook, on Google, on TikTok, on Snapchat, on LinkedIn. There is a very interesting client that we have, which is, once again, not a normal client that we would have taken on, but they were referred from one of our other clients, one of our other, clients of, 14 months. And yeah, I spent a lot of that sales process trying to convince them not to work with us, but they came on, and it's actually a B2B video conferencing software for the medical professionals. So we ran a lot of LinkedIn ads for them this year. So long story short is, this year we have been advertising on a lot of different platforms. And if you're an agency owner, I think that's a tool that you need in your arsenal, especially this year, because it all comes down to, you should go where you are treated best and where you're going to get the best results. And I think you should always be questioning where you are right now. Are you being treated the best, and are you getting the best possible result? And always be questioning that. And I guess that kind of brings me on to my next point, which is something I've been mulling over a lot in November, is moving out of London. So I don't really think ever, or at least for a decade, cities are going to be what they're going to be. And once again, I know this is a very touchy subject, and I'm not going to put any opinion into it. It just looks like all of the benefits of cities are going to be eradicated because of not forced vaccination. I don't think that's going to happen, but pushed vaccination. So I don't think you are going to be able to go to restaurants, in 18 months without your COVID pass. I don't think you're going to be able to fly without your COVID pass. I don't think you're going to be able to go to gyms without your COVID pass. And I think a lot of the benefits that you're going to, of living in cities, you're just not going to have anymore. Now, I posted something on my story about this, and, people were like, well, if they, put all this in place, you're not, like, you moving out of London into the countryside, like, that doesn't make you exempt from it. Like, all this stuff is still going to go on. And I go, yes, I know, but also I'm going to have my own space, so I can grow my own. Well, obviously you can just get food delivered, so there's that. I'm going to have my at-home gym. So I'll basically explain what I'm looking at. This house that I'm in right now, I don't really know the value of it. All I know is that the house next to me sold in 2015 for over $5 million. And yeah, basically on my street, like the one next to me and this one are like kind of the two nicest houses. The two largest is a 4-floor house. And keep in mind that was 2015. Like, house prices have gone up a lot since then. So I would assume that the house next to me is probably worth 6.5 million pounds, circa $8 million now. I would assume that this one is probably worth around 4.5 to 5 million. I know the one next to me has an elevator, so their one's just a tiny little bit more flex than mine. When I say tiny, it's a really nice place. So yeah, this house is worth around 4.5 million. So like, you know, people ask me all the time, like, you know, why don't you buy a house? And it's like, first of all, I'm 20. Second, I would never in a million years like want to pay 4.5 million for this. I'm happy paying, you know, all in all, after everything, it comes out to around 7,000 pounds, which, by the way, I got a really, really good deal on this place, because of, you know, everything that's going on in the world and whatnot, and the timing of it. So yeah, basically what I'm thinking is of buying a place in the Cotswolds for, you know, a budget of anywhere from 1 to 1.5 million pounds, and then probably put another like 2 to 300K in refurbishments. For that price, I can get a 6 to 8 bedroom place, although I would prefer something like better land and property and area. Like for me, my ideal place would probably be like a 4 or 5 bedroom, because then I can have like master bedroom, like a guest bedroom, one room is an office, one room is like a proper studio recording area, and then one as a gym. I would also get a steam room, sauna, and a cold plunge put in. So, you know, if I'm kind of comparing it, it's like, okay, here in, like, if I was to buy my house, it would cost me, you know, 4.5 million pounds. And it's just, and you know, granted, I live in Chelsea, Knightsbridge, but it's just like, you know, you're not going to get the benefits of living in a city. I just don't see that happening over the space of the next 10 years. And also just the way that the way that things are, you know, it's just cities, you know, crime rate is going up, and it's just like, London as well is just, I don't know. I just don't have the same love for it the way that I did last year. You know, don't get me wrong, London is still my favorite city in the world. But also, it's not London specifically. It's like same thing with like LA, same thing with New York. I mean, especially New York. Shit, I would never ever want to live in that. Like, in my opinion, that place was that place has so much character. And by the way, if you're a New Yorker, like, you know that you would never leave New York, because like New York has your heart, and you know, it all also comes down to that sort of thing. But for me, like, I would just never in a million years live in New York, and especially now everything going on. But as I said, I know if you're a New Yorker, like, that place has, and I know that a lot of people look at London and they're like, what's so special about it? So, you know, like, a lot of it is kind of the way you grew up and whatnot. But thinking of moving, well, very, very, very strongly considering moving to the Cotswolds next year, which is around like a 90 to 1 hour and 45 minute drive outside of London. That would also mean that I would get a car. And, you know, some people were like, oh, what car would you get? And I was like, look, nothing flashy, just a simple Range Rover Vogue. Yeah, just like a simple car, either that or maybe a Bentley Bentayga, something that's like not super like, it's just a good car. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a comfortable, good car. Yeah, so probably those. And I would own my place outside of London, and I would make this place into, you know, this place would have, you know, lots and lots of area. I would have spend probably 50 grand on an incredible home gym, spend another 50 grand on a steam room, sauna, cold plunge. As I said, have my office, have my studio. I'd probably, maybe I'd have one of the bedroom, you know, I'd probably get a little bit of a lot, like, Tristan, if you can actually, for the people viewing it, if you can throw in some of the, like, a right move, and by the way, guys, these are places I'm looking at. Like, I'm not actually making any offers yet, because also the property market right now is the most ridiculous thing ever. If you're buying property right now, you are literally an idiot. And it's funny because you see a lot of like the finance channels and stuff like that, like promoting buy property. Like, you're an idiot. Like, just do a bit of research as to the artificial bullshit going into the real estate market, and just try to understand why real estate prices are the highest they've ever been when the economy is the worst it's been in. If you look at GDP and like what's actually happening in the economy, it very closely mirrors the Great Depression. So, yeah, you know, there's that for you. But also the weird thing, it's different to the Great Depression in the sense that it's a K-shaped recovery. Like, I've said this before, it's a shame because people don't understand, especially all the people who are like, lockdown. They don't understand, like, 2020 was the most successful year I've ever had. Not by a little bit, by a lot. And same thing for my students, and same thing for, our clients. But, and by the way, in every single industry you look at, and I'm also talking about like restaurants and gyms and even people who have had to face lockdowns, the top 30% have made more money than they've ever made, even businesses directly affected by lockdowns, right? So this really is a K-shaped recovery. Like the richer are getting richer and the poor are getting poor. And that was already a huge issue before lockdowns. So, that's kind of one thing that kind of breaks my heart is like you get all these people who are like, save lives and blah, blah, this and that. And they just don't really know what's going on. Like, that's one thing that especially breaks my heart. And they don't realize that like this is going to do more harm to the lower class and middle class people. Rich people, this 2020 has been one of the biggest blessings. Like I said, financially, this year has been incredible for me. And same thing across my students, across all my clients. And as I said, I'm even talking about local businesses because the ones that had good cash reserves, what do you think's happened now? Like, do you understand that for Amazon, like I'm sorry, I'm getting a little flustered. People don't understand. Amazon wants the government to raise minimum wage. Like Amazon isn't opposed to it because what happens when when minimum wage gets raised by 50% or, they impose universal basic income? Amazon has so much cash reserves that all of its competition is going to go out of business and they can ride that storm for little. And then now they've got all the market share. And it's the same thing, you look on a lower scale with like restaurants with good cash reserves and good financials. You look at gyms with good cash reserves and good financials. Yeah, it may be rocky for a little bit, but once things go back to normal, which obviously they will, like guys, this isn't going to go on for the rest of our lives. I predict it's going to go on for another 6 to 9 months. There's going to be the whole forced vaccination, not forced. It's basically do this, otherwise you've been stripped of all of your rights kind of vaccination kind of thing. And then things are going to go back to normal. Okay. And as I said, local business or not, this has everything that's going on in the world. As I said, the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. And that's the way it's worked. And the lockdowns for the top percentage of businesses in their industry, even if it's local businesses, has been a blessing because I said they can ride out that storm for a little and then increase their market share. I'm even seeing it in London. We just came out of the second lockdown and obviously inevitably going to be going into the third one. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure that out. They're going to go, oh, it's fine, spend Christmas with your families, oh, this, that. And then what happens? Oh, it's your fault for spending Christmas with your family. Now we got to go into another lockdown. You see what you did? I mean, it's what they did last time. They were giving discounts and promotions. They were like, eat out to help out. We're trying to promote more people to eat at our restaurants. What happens once they do that? It's your fault for eating out too much, which is why we need to go into lockdown. I mean, it's ridiculous. But anyways, guys, trying to stay back on topic because, as I said, even though this year has been the biggest blessing for me, I even get flustered about it because I just hate seeing people get fucked over. And I guess I don't understand when the people who are actually affected by it, like they just take it and they're even trying to perpetuate it. But anyways, alas, I digress. That's my intention. I'm looking to buy a place in the Costwolds next year. Just make this place my absolute haven. I'm going to probably have a groundskeeper / security guard just because, one of the biggest things about having such a big place is like maintenance, like making sure that things are stocked, shelved. So I'm thinking of having like a groundsman who will be like a first and foremost, an incredible chef. That way he can, cook me food, or he or she can cook me food. They can make sure that everything's stocked, clean as well. And just basically like, just be a groundsman. I'm kind of thinking of like, what is it? I'm so bad at movies. A Batman, like, is it Humphrey? Like, I'm so embarrassed, but like, his like kind of butler type thing. I'm thinking almost like that, like just an incredible, like, I just want like a really wise old groundsman. Something like that is kind of what I'm envisioning. So anyways, long story short, that's what I'm looking at. I will still have a place in London, so I'll probably downsize and just get a really simple 1-bedroom Chelsea apartment. So 1 bedroom, and the only thing I have in there is a bed and then this exact same desk setup. And then the way that I have things is I have a 16-inch MacBook Pro, and I have it hooked up to my LG 5K, best monitor hands down, and that already has a camera on it. I've got everything hooked up to the back because the USB-C port. Anyways, so all I have to do when I go from Cotswolds to London is just take my MacBook, and that's it. And in London here, I'll just get a bunch of stuff from like Uniqlo and Muji, just simple t-shirts, some jeans, a couple pair, a pair of summer walks, a pair of Lanvin, just sneakers, and that's like just simple sneakers, and that's it. That's all I need. And yeah, basically just do Monday to Friday in the Cotswolds, and then just come back Friday to Saturday or Friday to Sunday, and then just do that. And you know, maybe if I've had a really long week of work and I'm not feeling coming back and seeing anyone and being social, I'm just staying in the Cotswolds for the weekend. So that's kind of where my head's at. Yeah, just spend $2,000 a month on just a place in London, just a nice little 1-bedroom apartment, and then just have my beautiful mega mansion. As I said, I'll get Tristan to throw up a couple different examples so you can just see the scale of it. And yeah, like these are proper compounds. Like honestly, it's nuts. And yeah, as I said, you know, for me that ties into the first thing that we were talking about, which is like go where you're treated best. And it's a shame because like I don't think cities are going to be treating the people who live in there best. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just like, okay, might as well just move to the countryside. I can run things remotely anyways. And yes, you know, for some of the fun aspects, I would never not have a place in London. That's the thing. So, you know, I'm already spending what, $7,000 a month, and that's with a deal on this place. You know, so instead of that, just spend $2,000 a month, and that like extra $5,000 a month can go towards, you know, the property that I'm buying. So, that's kind of where my head's at. The last thing that I want to finish on is, I'm sure you guys have noticed, you know, I also got to do a watch update. Picked up a watch only picked up one. Yeah, I believe I only picked up one in November. And that is this bad boy right here, the Royal Oak Tourbillon. Retail price is 149,000 pounds on this. So that's circa $185,000. This is one of those watches, and you never get this with Royal Oaks, you know, steel or even rose gold, which trades considerably below retail. Now, granted, I got a really good deal on this, and that's why I moved so quick. I say I moved, you know, that's not the only reason. This is my dream watch. Like from the Royal Oak like lineup, this I would prefer more than the double balance wheel. More like this is kind of the ultimate flex. You know, it's tourbillon, and if you guys don't know, with a brand like, you know, AP, of course Patek do tourbillons, but like with a brand like AP or Patek, Rolex don't do any tourbillons. You know, you add a tourbillon on something, it's automatically an extra $100K. So yeah, you know, you got a tourbillon. It's the beautiful blue dial, and it's ultra thin, which I love, and 41 millimeters. Like, you know, the jumbo, which is another great watch that they have, is 39, which is just a little too small, especially if it's thinner. I prefer the 41 sort of frame. So yeah, pick this watch up. Incredible watch. And as I said, I got it for $83,500 after even haggling on merchant fees. I'm you know, for me, as I said, I look at my watches and investments, and, you know, I will scrounge and save. So I picked this up for $83,500. The cheapest one on the market after this right now is $99,000. So there's a decent margin in there for me. Granted, this is a 2014 model, and the one right now listed, they're all like 2019s, but still, like, they haven't changed it. You mean like it's the same watch? They haven't changed the movement, they haven't changed anything like that. It's the same watch. And yeah, that's the thing. Once you send it off to AP for service, once you polish a watch, you genuinely cannot tell. Like it looks brand new, and I'm sure most of you guys would have seen in the watch collection video. So yeah, that is the new pickup. It's definitely one of my grails. Like if I had to have 5 watches for the rest of my life, I think it would be like a Platinum Daytona, which I'm working on getting next. Platinum Daytona, Royal Oak, Tourbillon, Nautilus, Rose Gold 5711R, probably one of the leather straps, like Perpetual Calendar, maybe even like a minute repeater from Patek Philippe, and then I'm definitely missing one, which like I would feel like an idiot. Yeah, after that, I don't know, maybe a 40th. After that, honestly, I don't know. But my point is, it would be in like if I had to have 5 for the rest of my life, like to me in the Royal Oak lineup, you can't get better than this. Obviously, I'm in a stage in my life where I love rose gold rather than steel. I'm sure I'll get to a point, you know, where I'm, you know, 30 or 40 or, you know, 40 or 50. And I look at a rose gold piece and I'm like, Iman, you know, maybe that was more in your 20s. But for right now, Also, I think it's a lot to do with like skin tones as well. Rose gold kind of suits my skin tone. I would never do yellow gold. To me, it's a little too garish and out there. So yeah, I'm in love with this piece. Ladies and gents, I am officially 1 minute late, and I know how this usually goes when I'm recording, and then I've got a sales call after. So I'm gonna try to end it here. I want to thank you all for listening to this podcast. I felt a little. This was actually a really good warm up for the sales call, but I felt a little stiff today. Stumbling over my words and whatnot. So apologize for that. As I said, it's towards the end of the day. I'm quite tired. And yeah, appreciate all you guys listening, and I'll catch you in the next one.